Did you guys know that 20 million of us software developers used to gatekeep software? We were the gatekeepers of software, and now it is available to everyone thanks to AI. That is the statement that I recently read on Twitter, and it sort of like sparked a reaction from me in the heat of the moment. But let's just look at it, right? Let's just go a little bit deep into it and the implications of what's going on here. And why are such statements made in the first place? Okay, so I have some thoughts. See, of course, taking it out of context completely is not going to be right, but there is an intrinsic motivation for saying these statements. For example, software was gatekeepers, or software developers rather. Anyone can build software now. This is my favorite statement. And your CTO is now Claude, and so on and so forth, right? So see, while there is some truth to it, what was said on the video, yes, any technical person or even like non-technical person with high agency who knows or who wants to understand Claude, for example, or these AI systems, they are able to build and do something that was not possible before. My argument to this is that the kind of stuff that they are doing is, first of all, basic, right? If you're talking about building a simple front end or a simple front end with maybe like link to Google Forms or Airtable or any of the third-party integrations, then that is a basic software in the first place, right? Number one. And I completely support that this was not possible to do before. Before it was hard, and now it is easy. The basic stuff. What people don't really talk about is the intermediate and advanced stuff. You can't possibly open a software or a tech company, which is like an intermediate or an advanced company, without having first-hand knowledge of software or without having software engineers in your company, even today. The problem is that you can't use the AI systems which are there even right now to its best effort if you yourself are not technical enough. See, the thing with AIs is that they are really good at some things. They are really good at instruction following, and they're really good for brainstorming when you know your stuff. What they are not good at is taking decisions end to end. And you would never be able to tell this until and unless you yourself are not a good enough person in that specific field. You cannot ask AI to take some decisions end to end and expect it to be valuable or viable for you. For example, in case of, just go ahead and ask Claude, like, what is the best way to build a website with, 1 million users online? And chances are that it would specify to you about AWS, Azure, public cloud, all and all. But then you add in a constraint of that I don't want the bill to be very high. Then it will go ahead and specify you Hetzner and all, just self-hosted systems. But then you will add it that, hey, I also don't want the headache of, managing self-servers and so on and so forth. Can you do it for me? Then it will say that, okay, I can provision, Hetzner stuff and, do all of this, that, so on and so forth. What it will not tell you is that those incidences where your server might lose power, right? And this happens with Hetzner. There are some stories where, somebody in Hetzner's data center stepped on a cable, disconnected it from the system, and it just, was not working for a few days, which is funny, but this is true. So again, you can force the AI to take some decisions end to end. But generally speaking, you need somebody technical enough or somebody who's experienced enough in real world knowledge, real world stuff to take those decisions for you, depending on the cost that you are projecting or, the stuff, the constraints that you have in mind that this should be in this way, this should not be in that way. With that being said, this system, artificial intelligence, is a great replacement for suboptimal, subpar developers. There are a lot of people in the world who are not good compared with AI, right? But then there are a lot of people as well which are really good and which will give you actually better suggestions than AI as well. So yes, if you compare your developers or people that you have worked with AI, and all of them have been like cheap talent, people you have hired for very cheap, and they were, able to work earlier, even before AI, and don't have a lot of experience, and they are just recommending you all the BS, then yes, you would say that AI is much better than, humans for making decisions or making the work. But there are some people, trust me, I see these experiences every day, not only in just tech, but in variety of fields, right? I myself use AI in a lot of other fields outside of tech, inside of finance, inside of day-to-day life, learning about new things, new stuff. And every once in a while, I would see that, I'm just learning about something and I talk to an expert in that field and they just give me me a completely different perspective, which then AI confirms, yeah, this sounds really good, but it never really brought it up in our conversation when we were having that, right? So this is sort of like, it's hard for me to explain to you. This sort of like lies in the territory of things you don't know, right? So if you don't know about this is basically a simple representation of, think of it in something like this. So these are things you know, then these are things you know that you don't know, and don't mind my circles. And all of this is things that you don't know that you don't know. Now the thing is that AI is really good in this circle and in this circle. The stuff that you know, super easy to ask this AI to automate that, and you can just verify quickly whether it has done it the right way or not. Things that you know that you don't know is also, I would say, relatively easier because you are aware about that. Hey, I'm not really sure about this. Let me ask the AI, and if I feel like it's doubtful, the thing that I'm hearing is not really accurate, I can just double check it, cross check it myself, right? So I would just suggest that this is also fine, right? So the things that I know, like I don't know about finance and stuff. But the dangerous part is that in a lot of things that you don't know, there are a bunch of more things over here that you don't even know that you don't know, right? And it's hard for people to grasp. But this is where using AI sometimes is a mistake. That means like you should just double check whatever you are doing with people, with experts in your field, and making a blanket statement, making statements like this, where 20 million developers used to be gatekeepers of software. Now it's available to everyone. This is such a wrong statement. And this is what makes it feel to people like that, hey, we can just go ahead and spin up any sort of AI coding tool and we can build anything of any complexity. I'm not saying that you can't build stuff. You can build a lot of great stuff now because of these tools, because of these companies that allow you to do coding, vibe coding with just prompts. It's great. What's not great is the illusion that this can be used to build anything. It's not possible to build anything with these tools, right? There's a limit in intelligence of the models, in the context window, in the memory. All of these technical constraints exist in today's time. Maybe they would not exist 5 years down the line. I don't know. But they exist today, and that is what the truth is. Now, again, this should not come as a surprise because this is a statement which is made by CEO of Wobby, which is a startup, which is a company to create your own first personalized mini app, which again, as a businessman, I understand that you have to set a narrative. You have to set a vision for the world, for the people to see. But it's just that it gets people like me, for example, slightly triggered because, in the moment, I'm also not paying a lot of attention on, the full context of what the thing is going on. And it also is just like, outright a wrong statement if you just look at that one single sentence. 20 million developers gatekeeping software. We are the ones who created so much content, courses, documentation, lectures, lessons. A lot of that actually completely free of cost. A very few chunk of knowledge is paid behind Udemy and, personal platforms and stuff like that. A lot of that is actually free of cost on YouTube, on personal blogs, on Medium, Free Code Camp. Look at Free Code Camp. It's completely built by instructors, right? All of the instructors are like, they just volunteer to put content over there. And I'm sure like a lot of that material is used in AIs for training. I'm not very sure that Free Code Camp or such platforms have been compensated for that because it's all of that is public data. So yeah, a couple of things that I don't really like about this clip and the statement is, of course, like this is not right at all. Let's be honest. There's a specific meaning to the word gatekeeping, and that is not what software developers are. What could be a right way to put this across is that basic apps, even the basic apps, required people to either learn some level of programming on their own before, or they had to hire some cheap developer or somebody to build that app, right? You want to build a to-do app, you want to build a weight loss tracker app, you want to build some random XYZ app. Yes, you can't do that before AI on your own. You still need somebody you're paying like $5, $10 an hour rate in some third world country or whatever, and they would be able to do that for you. Now, yes, you can prompt the AI and it'll spit out the work, but that does not save you from intermediate or advanced stuff. You can build an MVP, you can build a prototype. I'm very not sure that you can take that prototype, deploy it in production, get real customers, and do it repeatedly at scale. Yes, there would be people, there would be exceptions who are exceptionally good problem solvers who just don't know about programming and they are able to do the second point as well. I'm not talking about those 0.001% of people. Maybe you are one of them, but then I would argue that you could have been a good developer in the first place if you just put in like a month or a couple of months of time, right? So I'm not talking about exceptions. I'm talking about the mass of the audience. So that's one. And second is, but now anyone can, even if you had a good idea, go ahead, find an engineer, find a co-founder, find a technical co-founder, but you can't really otherwise build it. It requires a lot. I would say this is still true. If you are building anything meaningful, you do need a technical person to supervise the decisions, to supervise and make sure that AI is not taking you completely off the guardrails. I am yet to see any technical complex product or a product which is like, actually solving a real problem for people, which is technically hard to build. And it's built by somebody completely non-technical without any experience. Developers and people who know how to harness AI properly and they have the appropriate knowledge over here, they are the best users of AI right now, as far as I can see. So don't let these narratives and these, marketing talks fool you that you don't need to learn programming or, the programming future and all of this is over. It is over for you if you are a cheap developer or if you are somebody who does not want to upskill, because that part, I would say, yeah, it's pretty much over. But then the intermediate advanced stuff, which requires, infrastructure knowledge, which requires back-end, front-end, full stack, ability for you to look at the whole scale from a bird's eye view, figure out what are the choke points, figure out how you can reduce cost while keeping the infrastructure stable, move providers, do a bunch of these things. This is even more important because now in today's time, everyone is selling you everything. People will sell you, this is the best way to do vibe coding applications. This is the best way to deploy software systems. Yes, everyone is going to sell you every single thing and it's going to be extremely noisy. It's going to be extremely hard to navigate properly in these sort of things, right? And I would not even include myself. For example, this video is not a sponsored video, right? A lot of videos that I do, which are sponsored, which covers like a specific tool or a specific thing, I make it explicitly clear that this is a sponsored video or sponsored segment. You can, every single time you will see in my videos, when it is a sponsored video, I disclose it using the YouTube control. So you should see somewhere here that this includes like a sponsored segment. And yes, in those videos, I have to just go through the tools, give you the advantages, show you the picture on how the tool exactly works. But you have to be very careful in understanding the absolute truth, the overall truth, not just get focused on a single video, single interview, single person, even me. I include myself in this. And don't just make decisions based on that person's opinion. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you learned something new. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I'm gonna see you in the next video very soon. If you're still watching, make sure you leave a comment, "I watched till the end" below to tell me that you were still here and let me know what do you think about the video.